Good morning. I'm not going to cook breakfast this morning. I'm actually getting a head start on dinner tonight. What I'm making is Middle Eastern chicken kebabs using boneless, skinless chicken thighs. And the yogurt-based sauce that goes on these kebabs needs to marinate for a few hours in the refrigerator before they go on the grill. So that's what I'm going to do now, is get the sauce ingredients together, put it on the kebabs, and put it in the refrigerator for a few hours. So let's get started on the sauce. I am using, for the yogurt, this is whole plain Greek yogurt, and I'm using half a cup. So I'm just going to mix it up in this measuring cup so that hopefully I can just drizzle it on the kebabs. That's pretty close. Let me put just a little bit more. And ooh, got a little messy there. A little bit more, and that's pretty close. That's a half a cup actually, right there. So we got that much done. I'm going to set this aside, and then we're going to spice it up a little bit. First thing we're going to add is a tablespoon of EVOO olive oil. And then I have got, this is half of a lemon that's been zested. So I'm going to put that in there. And 2 cloves of garlic, minced well, put that in there. Then before I put the other seasonings in, I'm going to put the juice of half of a lemon. The half that I zested, and then I saved the other half for tea. Just squeeze that lemon juice in there. Then I'll take this little whisk and mix it up. Now, I may, when I get all this together, I may go ahead and put a little bit of water to thin it down some. I'll just decide that after I get everything in there. All right, at this point, get the rest of the oil in there. At this point, it's time to add the herbs and spices. I have about a teaspoon of salt and about a half teaspoon of pepper, putting that in there. And then the rest of my spices I have in one dish. What I have is a teaspoon of paprika, half a teaspoon of ground cumin, about 1/8 of a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and a 1/4 teaspoon red pepper flakes, crushed red pepper flakes, and a 1/4 of a teaspoon of sumac. Sumac is an ingredient that's used in a lot of Middle Eastern dishes, and it adds a lemony, kind of a sour, lemony, citrusy taste. So I've got a 1/4 teaspoon of that. So with the lemon zest, the lemon juice, and the sumac, we're going to have some nice citrus flavor there. Okay. Most of those spices and herbs. And then just mix it all together. As you can see, the sumac gives it a nice pinkish color. And I think I am going to put a little bit of water, a little splash of water to thin it down just a little bit before I brush it on the kebabs. Not a whole lot, just a little splash of water. And now it's going to pour much more easily. Now let's look at our chicken. As I said, I'm using boneless, skinless chicken thighs. And I had a package of 6 thighs, and I used 3 of those to get 4 kabobs, 4 skewers. The only other thing I put on the skewers besides the chicken was red onion, slices of red onion. So I took the chicken and got as much of the fat and skin that was left on it as I could. And now, let me get the whisk out. And I'm just going to pour this over my kabobs. Let me move this. Now, the package that I got, I think I said the package of chicken that I got had 6 chicken thighs. So if I had used all of those, obviously I would have 8 kabobs. But I decided I would use 4 for this dish, and that leaves the other 3 to do something else with tomorrow. Don't know what yet, but now I'm gonna kind of brush that also just to make sure everything is coated evenly. And then I'm gonna turn the skewers over. And pour the rest of this sauce on the other side. As it sits in the refrigerator too, it will firm up some more, so that the sauce, hopefully by the time I put them on the grill, will be sticking to the chicken quite well. It's also possible that I could have used a little less water and it would have been thicker to begin with, but I think it will be okay. All right, let me do some more brushing. Of course, some of this sauce is also on the bottom of the pan, so I can also just brush that on there, bring that up. I want to cover all of this as much as I can. I didn't put my chicken and onions on the skewers really tight. I wanted to leave enough room so that they would cook more evenly on the grill and would get more of the sauce also. So that's pretty much it for the first step. The skewers with all of the yogurt sauce ingredients are ready to go in the refrigerator for a few hours to marinate. I'm going to cover them with plastic wrap before I put them in there. And then I'll come back later this afternoon to finish dinner, which will not only be the grilled skewers, but I'm going to make an eggplant chickpea dish. It's a Greek dish to go with the skewers. So it's going to be a really spicy, delicious, haven't made this before. This is the first time. So I hope it's going to be wonderful. We'll see you guys later. Thanks. Bye. Hey y'all. It's now afternoon and it's time to finish dinner that I started this morning by making some chicken kabobs and coating them with a yogurt Middle Eastern kind of sauce and putting them in the refrigerator to marinate. So they've been in the fridge for several hours now. I've got the grill heating up outside, and so now I'm going to make the dish that will accompany the kabobs, which is the whole reason I'm even making this dinner. It is an eggplant dish. In fact, it's called Greek style eggplant. And I've got some olive oil heating up. The first thing I need to do is brown some, or saute, soften some aromatic vegetables, and then we'll just build it from there. Once I get everything in the pot and mixed together, I'm going to transfer it to a casserole dish and also put it on the grill to cook as I grill the chicken kabobs. So let's get started. As I say, I've got olive oil in the pan heating up. In this bowl, I have part of a red onion that I chopped up, not a half, but I used, If you remember when I made the kabobs, I used red chunks of red onion in between the chicken thighs, and so I chopped up some more of that red onion. I chopped up 1 carrot, half of a bell pepper, and 2 cloves of garlic. And I cut these pretty small, kind of diced, kind of minced thing. And I neglected to get any utensils, so I need a wooden spoon. I'm going to get these vegetables spread out here and let them start sauteing a little bit. Now let's talk about the eggplant. You see, this spring when I planted my little, what I call my little victory garden, I put out 1 Japanese eggplant. And that plant has produced well over the last few months. But about 3 weeks ago, we got a good amount of rain, and then it really decided to come to life. It has been showing out. And so I had all these pretty purple Japanese eggplants, and I needed to do something with them. So I started researching recipes to decide what I wanted, and this sounded really good, so I'm going to give it a try. Now, since these are thin eggplants, rather than cutting them in half and chopping them up, I've just been slicing them. So let me stir my veggies a little bit, because they're coming along nicely. I can smell that nice onion garlicky smell. All right. Now I'm going to chop up this last eggplant. Just take the tips off of both of them and then just slice it in about, maybe 1-inch pieces, thereabouts. Not anything totally consistent. But since these are so small and tender, I'm hoping they're going to be very quick cooking, and I don't want to get rid of my bay leaf, and will be nice and soft and flavorful when the dish is finished. Alright, so there's the veggies coming along very well. We'll bring this over a little bit more. Now I'm going to add seasonings. And like this morning, when I put the seasonings together for the yogurt sauce, there are even more seasonings that go in this dish. I am making half of the recipe because I just didn't need a full recipe, because I will probably be eating all of this myself, and I didn't want leftovers for a week. So I cut everything in half, and here's what I have now. 1 bay leaf that I'll go ahead and drop in there. And then, let's see, I got a teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt, half a teaspoon of black pepper, have a half a teaspoon of coriander seed that I crushed up. This actually is some that I had in my from my cilantro plant this spring, and when it went to seed, I just crushed up the seeds to make my own coriander. I've got half a teaspoon of paprika, half a teaspoon of dried oregano, a 1/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric, and an 1/8 of a teaspoon of sumac. I also used the sumac this morning, and I put just a little bit in here to kind of brighten up the flavors. So let me move these out of the way, and let me just sprinkle all these seasonings over the aromatic vegetables. Ooh-wee, we're getting some nice smells now. Nice aromas. Alright, I'm just going to let these herbs and spices cook a little bit with the vegetables. before I add in my other ingredients. Now, the recipe called for 1.5 pounds, the original recipe of chopped eggplant. And what I wound up with my Japanese eggplant, I had 7 of those thin, fairly long eggplants. I've got about between 4.5 and 5 cups. I'm going to go ahead and add that in the pan. And mix that around. See if I can get a lot of those seasonings mixed onto the eggplant. Let me move these out of the way and move this over a little bit more. You know, the eggplant pretty much just soaks up whatever other flavor you put with it. I'm quite sure I'm going to get one more mess of eggplant, and I most likely will just use that to make an eggplant parm recipe. But I like the color that this has taken on with all of those seasonings. Okay, there's the eggplant. The next thing I'm going to add is a can of diced tomatoes. Stir that in. And then I have a can of garbanzo beans or chickpeas. I drained and rinsed those. I'm just going to add the chickpeas in. The original recipe called for a 28-ounce can of tomatoes, so I used a 15-ounce can, and it called for 2 cans of the chickpeas, so I only used 1. So this recipe is about half of the original Greek-style eggplant. But I'm telling you, the colors, the purple and the red and the colors of those seasonings are just beautiful at this point. Now, I could let this simmer in the pan for a little bit, but I'm just going to go ahead and put it into my Pyrex dish, my casserole dish. That is heavy. Oh man, I hope this tastes as good as it looks. Just going to spread that out in the dish. Try to get all of my eggplants separated. Don't really need them stuck together. And just for good measure, I'm going to put a little bit of water in this pan. Rinse it out just a little bit. Kind of get all those seasonings, and then I'm going to pour that over because I really need a little bit more liquid in that dish, I believe. Then stir it around. This is so pretty. These eggplants, like I say, I'm going to get them spread out well. Okay. Now, the eggplants will soften as they cook, and that will add some more liquid to this dish also. I'm going to put a cover on it. I'm going to take it out and put it on the grill, let it cook on the grill while I put these chicken kebabs. So I've got Middle Eastern chicken kebabs and Greek-style eggplant. And to me, that just sounds like lots and lots of flavor. So I'll be back when everything is ready to eat, and we'll see how it turned out. Okay, the food is off the grill. The food is back in the kitchen and pretty much ready to eat. Of course, the casserole is very, very, very hot, but check it out. Just look at these chicken kebabs. Don't they look fabulous? As my buddy Mitch would say, hot dog, they look good. Now, the casserole, the eggplant dish, is not as vibrantly pretty as it was when the eggplants were purple. They kind of turned a grayish, greenish color, but they're soft, they're well cooked. I think everything is ready. I'm gonna dish up a little bit here. Oh, you know what? I chopped some fresh parsley to garnish this eggplant dish, so I don't think I need to forget that little step. You know, a little bit of dark green, that helps it, helps the color. Now, let me get a plate and a fork. I'm going to take one of the kebabs. Hopefully it's been off the grill for a couple minutes, so it's cool enough. I'm just going to start putting that chicken and onion with the yogurt, Middle Eastern yogurt sauce on the plate. And then let's get some of the Greek style eggplant with chickpeas and tomatoes and lots of seasonings, aromatic vegetables. And there you go. That's what it looks like. I'm going to taste the chicken for sure. The eggplant's going to have to cool a little bit more, I believe. But let's see what that chicken tastes like, because I'm really interested to see if all the time I spent on this today is going to be something that I really enjoy. Bite of chicken. All right, let's come on back